Everybody, welcome back to Large Man Abroad. Hey, let's have a talk. The giant retailers in America, we may love them, we may hate them, but they are the canaries in the coal mine when it comes down to what consumers are spending their money on. The vast amount of data that we get that comes from these places, because they service so many different consumers within a vast array of markets, really tell us where the consumer is sitting and how they're looking at the economy. And we're seeing a major red flag being pulled up right now by Target as their sales are just kind of plummeting. In results released Wednesday, the company reported adjusted earnings per share of $1.30, falling 21% short of analyst expectations and down from $2.03 a year ago on the same basis. Comparable sales fell 3.8%, with in-store traffic down 5.7%, offset only partially by the 4.7% rise in digital sales. Operating margin compression also loomed large. Target's underlying operating margin was 3.7%, down from 5.3% a year ago. When excluding a one-time legal windfall, margins were hit hard by higher markdowns plus elevated supply chain and digital fulfillment cost. As usual, Target's earnings reflect more than just the company's specific issues, functioning as a window into the economic mood of its core American shopper. Target is what's called a strongly cyclical retailer, which means that it thrives when consumer confidence is high and shoppers feel secure enough to spend on things like candles, makeup, throw pillows, and massive Hot Wheels playsets. By extension, Target is often one of the biggest signals of weakening consumer confidence in tougher times. Its middle and upper middle class customer base is often the first to trade down, delay purchases, or skip the trip altogether. Compared to Walmart results, the picture becomes even clearer. Walmart, for its part, tends to perform counter-cyclically, benefiting when customers are wary and hard-pressed, tempted by its low-price dominance and more essentials heavy mix. In its most recent results posted just last week, the retailer reported grocery gains among households earning over $100,000, a classic sign of trading down. What does that mean? What does it mean that American people in the middle class and upper middle class are trading down? It means that they're wary of what's happening in the economy right now, as everyone else in America is. So they're going to spend less. They're not going to be investing as much. They're not going to be going on the same trips. They're more wary. They're more interested in saving, as everyone in the country is right now. Because households, whether luxuries are important or not to them, still have to exist within a budget. And these days, if a family is making $100,000, basically means that they're still paycheck to paycheck. So they have to be aware and wary of the cost and where those costs are going. With the tariffs, the disruption of the supply chain, and the prices of things going up. As the CEO and CFO of Walmart, who came out last week and said that it is going to be going up in the next week or two, consumers hear that and they become afraid. And they're like, man, we might need to put off the purchase of those candles and those Hot Wheels sets and maybe focus on making sure we have the groceries that we need. Because the cost of those groceries that are getting more expensive, that's going to eat into the purchasing power that we have from our residual income that we would typically use at places like Target. Middle class and upper middle class are the working class now, and that's what people need to understand, that they're just as vulnerable, and that's what we're seeing within the markets right now. That vulnerability isn't just within the poor American's household, it is now even reaching the upper middle class as they brace for the inevitability of a recession that more than 50% of economists right now are projecting to actually happen. The American household isn't safe from a major hit to the economy, and we don't know, because there's so much uncertainty in the market, what that economy is going to be looking like in the foreseeable future. By midsummer to late summer, America could look like a vastly different place when it comes to supply and demand, the supply chain, what's available, what the costs are. The entire situation could look completely different. Or maybe it looks the same. Maybe nothing changes. But when the majority of economists out there are saying that things are looking bad, when majority of the consumer base is saying that things are looking bad, even if these things are self-manifestations, they're still coming true, right? The economy is moving in a negative direction, and to argue against that at this point is just an act of insanity, because it doesn't match up with reality of facts on the ground right now. With reductions in adjusted earnings like this is going to create a negative forecast within these corporations, and a kind of retail triage is going to have to be made where some of these stores are just going to have to shut down. the stores that are performing the least are inevitably going to have to be shut down, because the corporation as a whole still has to meet these profit margins to make their shareholders happy. What that means is more layoffs from a lot of these mid-range retailers are going to be coming in. People are going to be losing their jobs again, and already in a job market that's saturated by people who've been laid off. That just throws gas on the fire that is an unemployable population in America right now, where there's not enough jobs to keep these people employed. And of course, there's a snowball effect, especially in lower income areas where these places are often going to be shut down, because that means that there's a lack of resources and accessibility to resources to these more usually impoverished, poorer populations of America, which means that the nearest retailers are going to see a kind of scarcity that really they don't see in more affluent areas. So if you're in a place that has a Target and a Walmart, and those are really the major shopping hubs for people within that area, and one of those goes away, that means all that business is going to be going into, let's say, Walmart in this case. And in a time where the supply chain is kind of chaotic and expectation of what's going to be hitting the shelves is kind of unclear, to have more shoppers going into these retail places like Walmart means that there's going to be more people buying less goods, which again creates scarcity. Is it going to be good for the bottom line of Walmart? Yeah. But as far as accessibility of resources to the common American person, the normal person, the working class, it's not good. This isn't a good thing. This isn't a kind of great reset that anybody should be wishing for. This is just making it so food and goods are less common for people to actually have access to within the common market. Because by excising ourselves from the global market and relying heavily on the domestic market means that a vast selection of items that typically we're used to seeing just aren't going to be there anymore. And that's not just luxury items, and that's not just cheap trinkets. These are things like electronics, batteries, shoes, children's clothing, adult clothing, things that we're used to seeing, and we're just used to being able to go into a department store and get, but those more than likely are going to be more expensive and less available in the foreseeable future. So as this moves on, the consequences that keep snowballing, this is going to hit, like I said, all sectors of retail, and more store closures are going to happen. And that hits everything. That hits shopping centers and malls who rely on retailers paying rental space. So when they're unable to pay for those rental spaces, that means that those shopping centers, those malls, they can't pay their bills, which may lead to further shutdown of shopping centers and malls, and more of a reliance on delivery services, getting goods to American consumers at home. Just like we saw in the early 2000s, this is looking like it's going to be a death blow to the brick and mortar retail stores. And are they going to be able to withstand the assault that's coming from these tariffs, or are they going to have to capitulate and shut down and lay everyone off? Like I said, this isn't good for society, and this isn't something that anybody should wish for. And if you find yourself looking for this kind of shutdown, this kind of massive breakdown in the system, then I think you really underestimate what the impacts and consequences of this can be, because it can be quite far-reaching. It hits everything. When the supply chain is disrupted and the consumer expectations aren't met, then the system has to really hurry to adjust and do what it has to do to maintain its structure. And that requires shutting down stores, laying off people. And that's not good. And that's not something that we really can handle in our economy anymore, because we already have a glut of unemployed people. And as we see in the summer, when a lot of these unemployment rates start actually hitting the news, I think we're really going to see a different picture being painted by the media, and the explanations of what's happening and how this can be spun for any kind of positive by the media. I don't know. I don't know how that can happen, because this is really a negative thing to see. Target may service middle class and upper middle class, but at the same time, it services community, and that's what's important, right? Walmart and Target aren't next to each other, so that means that people are going to have to commute farther to get these resources, which, like I said, that leans heavily on populations who rely on one of these retail stores already. So it's real worrying what can happen from this, and it's nothing to root for, honestly. But again, hey everyone, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate the support as always. If you're still here at this point, like and subscribe. Think about sharing. Think about becoming a member. If you have any comments, you have anything you want us to talk about, go ahead and throw it down below. This kind of hits us personally because we go to Target. I'm a Walmart guy. The wife is a Target girl. I'm okay not going to Target, but I'm not okay with Walmart getting a little busier because price hikes when it comes to tariffs are going to be hitting soon, and we have a new baby. A lot of stuff that new parents need is imported. This is a reality. So it's interesting times that we're in, and we're really going to see these consequences play out here pretty soon. But again, hey everyone, thanks for stopping by, and we hope you have a good one. Take care.